This story takes place during my college years. In my campus, there was a rule that required every new student to stay in the campus dormitory for 1 year. This rule applied to me when I was a freshman. The dormitory area consisted of multiple buildings, each with 2 floors. Each floor contained 9 rooms, accommodating 4 students in each room with 2 bunk beds. I stayed on the first floor in the room located at the very end. Due to the rectangular shape of the building, all the rooms were of the same size. As a result, one room size was allocated for the stairs leading to the upper floors, while the area beneath the stairs was utilized as a storage room. The room located at the front of the stairs had a haunted reputation. After a few weeks of staying in the campus dormitory, we started getting acquainted with each other. One of my friends, who lived in that room, shared a peculiar story. They often glimpsed someone going up and down the stairs in front of their room. One afternoon, I returned to the dormitory as I didn't have any classes for the day. I wanted to find my floor mate, hoping they were also free to have a conversation. I attempted to knock on various room doors, but there was no response until I reached the room located in front of the stairs. Curiously, I heard the sounds of people's activities from inside the room, footsteps, and the tapping of a laptop keyboard. I assumed there was someone in the room. Thinking it might be my friend James, who had a reputation for watching adult videos, I knocked and called out their name. Since I could hear the laptop sounds from the room, I wanted to play a lighthearted prank on James or anyone else inside. I stepped out and circled around the room towards the window. Even then, I could still hear the typing and footsteps. Coincidentally, the window was unlocked, so I swiftly opened it and pulled back the curtains. To my surprise, the room was empty. The sounds I had heard seemed to come from nowhere. Filled with fear, I quickly retreated back to my own room. Another story comes from my friend, William, who was staying in the room. He told me that he had just finished a class at 12:30 p.m. and wanted to rest in his dorm room because he had another class at 2 p.m. When William reached his room, he attempted to insert the key into the door lock to open it. However, he struggled for a moment as if another key had already been inserted into the keyhole. In addition to this, he called out the names of each of his roommates, saying, "Andre, James, John, please open." For a few moments, there was no answer. Then, he knocked on the door and called out again, "Andre, James, John, please open." Finally, James responded with a yes, and the door opened. William immediately entered the room and saw James lying on his own bed, where his mattress was placed on top of William's bed. William thought it was strange how quickly James had returned to bed, but he brushed it off. He lay down to rest and asked James if he had any more classes. James simply replied, "No." After a while, William felt thirsty and got up to go to the water dispenser. He stood by James's bed for a moment and realized it was empty. He could clearly hear James's voice and see his body on the bed, but now there was no sign of him. William's emotions were overwhelmed by fear and panic. He knocked on every room on the first floor in search of his other friends. Meanwhile, I, who happened to be in my room, heard someone knocking on the door and felt curious. As I stepped out, I saw William entering the room with a pale face, uttering a string of harsh words like "damn, damn, damn, what the hell is going on?" Concerned, I asked, "What's wrong?" To which he replied, "Just a moment." He took out his cell phone and said, "I need to check on James first." After confirming James' whereabouts, William proceeded to explain what had happened to him. Later, when he visited my room and checked on James, we were startled to hear James say he was resting in the park, waiting for his next class to begin. Hearing this, I couldn't help but shudder and feel uneasy about the room that William and his roommate had vacated. There's a rumor that tells the origin of why the room is haunted. Some say that in that room, there was one student who was killed due to illness. It was not intentional, but rather an unfortunate circumstance. The student who was killed was classified as poor, and the campus was located very far from their home. This student believed it would be a shame if the money was used for treatment instead of college. Thus, he endured the pain he was suffering and were afraid that if he told anyone about his sickness, his studies would be disrupted. Furthermore, he died on the bed where James slept, resulting in frequent strange occurrences surrounding James' bed. That room has gained quite a reputation among the students in my college. Even my senior, who was aware that William and his friends were staying in that room, warned us to be prepared. When we asked why, he simply replied, "You will find out for yourself." Unfortunately, we ended up learning the truth in a rather unpleasant way.